Welcome back. This is All This Math. This is Professor Parker. Please hit the like button if you didn't already. Also subscribe if you weren't already subscribed. Share this video with at least 2 people. If you have any questions about anything that I'm about to explain or end up explaining, please put your questions in the comment section. All right, so I can take a look. I welcome all questions. I welcome all questions. All right. Also, make sure you are familiar with this brother. This is a young portrait or a portrait of a young W.E.B. Du Bois. William Edward Burghardt Du Bois from Great Barrington, Massachusetts, born in 1868. Pan-Africanist, scholar, political scientist, sociologist, professor, teacher, historian. The list goes on and on. Lived to be 95 years old, expatriated, ended up making transition in Ghana the night before the March on Washington in 1963. His most famous book is probably The Souls of Black Folk, but he wrote many other books in addition to The Souls of Black Folk. Souls of Black Folk came out in 1903. Before that, he wrote The Philadelphia Negro, which was really a sociological study on the black community in Philly, right? So that was another important work of scholarship, and just did a lot to try to advance our race and try to advance our people. But we need to read his books, right? Read his books. Don't just listen to what somebody on YouTube said. Like, read his actual work. All right, go to the source. Always go to the source. All right, so we got 2 examples up here, right? The first one is already worked out, so I'm gonna explain it, and then we're gonna do another example together. So the first example, 15 plus 18. What is the sum of 15 and 18? So using the arrow way of addition, we're adding 2-digit numbers using the arrow way, or what some people call the arrow method or arrow notation. You start out with the first add-in, which is 15. Write it down. Then you draw an arrow. Now, the second add-in, and kind of mentally, you break it up into 2 numbers, right? 18, the biggest number that is less than 18 but ends in 0 is 10. The biggest number that's less than 0 but that's less than 18, less than 18 and ends in 0 is 10. So that means we're going to break 18 up into 10 plus 8. Why are we doing that? Because when you add by 10, it makes the math easier because you're only concerned about the tens place, right? So 15 plus 10 gives us 25 or yields us 25, right? Why? Because 15 has one group of 10 in it and 10 has one group of 10 in it. So if you put 10 with 10, you end up with 20. And then the 5 is still there. So that's how you end up with 25. 25. Now, 25 plus 8. Where does the 8 come from? Remember, 18 is the same as 10 plus 8. So we got 8. What's 25 plus 8, right? So now what we could do this a few different ways. We could actually break 8 down into 5 plus 3. We could think of 8 as 5 plus 3. Now, why? Why would I do that? Instead of thinking of 8 as 6 plus 2 or 7 plus 1 or 1 plus 7 or 0 plus 8. Why would I break it down into 5 plus 3? So this is where our children begin to develop critical thinking ability from using math, right? Doing just basic addition. Because if I combine 25 with 5, that gives me 30. How does that help me? Because now I got a number that ends in 0. And when we have numbers that end in 0, it makes the addition easier to do. Just like when you get to multiplication, numbers that end in 0 make the multiplication easier to do. All right, so keep that in mind. If I break this 8 down into 5 plus 3, I can take 5 and put it with the 25 and make 30. Because 5, just like 5 plus 5 is 10, again, critical thinking. If I know that 5 plus 5 is 10, because I have my addition facts memorized, right, from memory, I also know that 25 plus 5 also gives me a number that ends in 0. 25 plus 5 is going to be 30, right? So that's going to be 30. And then what's left? 3. 30 plus 3 is 33. Just like 0 plus 3 is 3, 30 plus 3 is going to be 33. That's one way to do it. Or we could count on from 25, start out with a balled up fist that represents 25. We're going to put up 8 fingers, and whatever number we stop on, that's our answer. That's our sum. So we start at 25, right? But we don't count 25 because we're already at 25, right? Remember, we're adding to 25. So we don't say 25. We don't do that. We're counting on from 25. So the first number we say is 26. Be careful with that. A lot of students have challenges with this. You don't count the number that you start at. You're counting on from that number. We already at 25. So we don't need to say 25. We already at 25. So we go 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. That's only 5, right? I need 8, 30, 31, 32, 33. That's 8 fingers. 8 fingers, the number 8. 8 fingers, the number 8. What number did I stop at? 33. 33 is my answer. All right. Another way we could do it, think about it like this. Separate the 5 from the 20. Now you got 20 over here, and I got 5 plus 8. Now we should know our addition facts by heart. We should know that 5 plus 8 is 13. 5 plus 8 is 13. We should know that. 5 plus 8 is 13. You got to memorize that. All right, as soon as possible. 5 plus 8 is 13. And all your addition facts from 0 to 20. All right, so, but then we say, well, what's the 20 plus 13? Well, we can take the 13 and break it down into 10 plus 3. So now I got 20 plus 10 plus 3. And you can write this down on your paper. 20 plus 10 plus 3. Because 13 is the same thing as 10 plus 3. So 20 plus 10 plus 3. 20 plus 10 is 30. Because that's 2 groups of 10 and 1 group of 10. That's where we get 30 from. Then we add 3 to 30. We end up with this number right here, 33. All right. Now, let's go on to number 2. Now, you might want to hit pause, work this out yourself, and then hit play when you're done to see if you get the same thing that we get. All right. But if not, let's just rock out. So 18 plus 16. All right. We start with the first add-end. The first add-end is 18. So I'm going to write that down. And then we draw an arrow. Right? And then I'm going to add 10. Where does the 10 come from? This 16 right here. The 16 can be thought of as 10 plus 6. Right? The 16 is the same thing as 10 plus 6. Right? So I add 10 from the 16. That gives me 28. Because I had 1 group of 10, and 1 group of 10 gives me 2 groups of 10. 2 groups of 10, that's 20. Right? And where'd the 8 come from? It was already here. This 8 was here. This 8 was here as part of the 18. Now I got 28. Now I got to add 6 to the 28. So I draw another arrow. And I'm doing plus 6. Now, 28 plus 6, I could count on from 28, and I'm going to end up at 34. Right? Balled up fist is 28. I do 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. That's 6, right? Adding 6, that's 6. I end up at 34, right? So that's why our sum is going to be 34, right? Or we could think of it like this. What if I broke 6 down into 2 plus 4? How would that help me? How would that help me? Well, I know that I put, again, this is where the critical thinking comes into play. I know if I put 2 with 28, that gives me 30. That gives me 30, and 30 ends in 0. And it's easier to do addition when you have one of your add-ins ending in 0. So now, what's 30 plus 4? 34. Just like 0 plus 4 is 4, 30 plus 4 is 34. Again, if 0 plus 4 is 4, and see, this is why we're developing critical thinking skills and problem solving skills. This is why we need to learn all the different methods for doing arithmetic, right? So if you're a parent watching this, don't get mad because your child is expected to do addition in a way that you didn't learn years ago. This is beneficial for you too, because it helps you to think about math differently and numbers differently and develop your own number sense in case you don't know this method already. All right. So now we got the 30 because 28 plus 2 gave us 30. Now, just like 0 plus 4 equals 4, 30 plus 4 must equal 34. All right. So that's another way to get 34. Or we could break the 28 down into 20 and 8, right? Separate the 20 from the 8. And then we got 8 plus 6. What's 8 plus 6? 14. That should be memorized. 8 plus 6 is 14. That should be memorized at this point. If we're adding 2-digit numbers, we should already have our single-digit addition facts memorized. So 8 plus 6 is 14. Now, so what's 20 plus 14? Well, let's break down the 14 into 10 plus 4. So 20, 10, and 4. 20, 10, and 4. 20, 10, and 4. What's 20 plus 10? 30. And then what's 30 plus 4? 34. That's our final answer. 34. All right. That's what we got. So that's what we're working with. So this is the arrow way, also known as the arrow method, also known as arrow notation. This is just another way to do addition, another way to do addition with 2-digit numbers. And it helps our children become more comfortable. The more methods our children know, the more comfortable they will become with arithmetic, the more comfortable they'll become with math. And that's how we prevent them from ever developing a fear of mathematics, which is catastrophic. We do not want our children ever developing a fear of mathematics. So introduce them to as many methods as possible and promote them. Promote the methods, right? Promote the methods. Promote math in your household. Speak positively about math. Don't speak about math as something to avoid, because then they're going to try to avoid it. All right. So make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. All right. If you still got questions, cool. Put your questions in the comment section. If you got comments, put your comments down there too, and share this video with at least 2 people. Go do your research on W.E.B. Du Bois, and I'll see y'all on the next video. Peace.